From Texas A&M International University, and on behalf of the College of Education and Podcast Architects, I'm Ben Wiggins, and we are welcoming Arcelia Gonzalez to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
We appreciate you being here to tell some success stories with us. Talk a little bit about your job and what you do with the university.
Well, my job is basically to be an advisor or undergraduate advisors, mostly the population I work with.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's about guiding them as far as what the program entails, being able to listen to them, give them that personal touch in our program that, hey, someone's here to guide you, help you, kind of answer your questions, concerns, as far as what does it entail to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the biggest concerns that a student may come in with, or that a student may encounter once they're in the program that you often end up helping them, questions you end up answering, or concerns that you end up helping them address?
Sometimes students come in and they don't know if they want to be a teacher, or they don't know if they have the capacity to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest things that I tell them is, can you picture yourself in the classroom? Can you? If the answer is yes, okay, well, we've already checked off first box.
Yes.
Second question I ask them is, what grade, if you do see yourself in the classroom, what school do you picture yourself in? What grade level? With children, toddlers, middle schoolers, high schoolers, to kind of help them, I guess you can say, navigate as far as the different career paths, the different degrees that we have. It makes it a little bit easier for me as far as to be able to guide them depending on what they've chosen. Now, some students come in and they've already know what they want to do. They're like, yes, I want to be a teacher and I know I want to do elementary. Okay, let's talk about your options. Do you know what you want to teach? What concentration? We go over that. Some students are very specific. They have a game plan for themselves. They already know, I want to graduate within 4 years, certifications, start teaching, get a master's, so on and so forth. And I'm like, great. It sounds like you have a whole plan worked out. Not all of our students are like that. I've also had students who come in with saying they're very eerie. They're not 100% sure if to disclose. Some students have come in saying they have mental health issues. They don't know if that mental health issue is going to potentially affect them in becoming a teacher. So we talk about it. I tell them, don't worry about it. Whatever we discuss here stays here. Unless you're trying to harm yourself or others, then I do have to disclose that information to the university. But other than that, it's a safe zone. You can, if you feel comfortable enough, you can go ahead and tell me. I'm not trying to pry or anything, but it's also, I have to be careful as far as when we do touch mental health, just because some students automatically, there's a stigma behind the issue.
Okay.
So some students feel very ashamed as far as potentially having a mental health issue, or they assume it's a mental health issue, but it could be a fear of public speaking or just a fear in general that they're not 100% sure if that would stop them from becoming a teacher.
So this university has very strong Hispanic representation. Do you find that there and this is an odd question for me to be asking, like, as a white guy, but like, do you find that there are elements that are particularly exacerbated for students that are coming from Hispanic culture around those issues?
Depends on what the issue is.
Okay.
Because just generally, like in the Hispanic culture, there is a lot of stigma behind mental health issues.
Okay.
Because automatically, if a person says, oh, I have a mental health issue, or I think I have one and it could not be diagnosed, it could be maybe undocumented and stuff like that, but they know they have it because they've researched it or they've had family members or whatever the case may be. They feel ashamed of the fact that they need to talk about it because they know it could potentially hinder their education or how well they do in classes.
Right.
So that's kind of like how the conversation comes about and stuff like that. But for the most part, students are they need to feel comfortable with the person, with their advisor, if we're going to go into those depths of issues. Some students feel comfortable with their advisor, but it's also the advisor's job to create a safe space for the student to be able to disclose those issues. Some students don't feel comfortable and just want to go straight to that particular department that deals with it because they know, oh, if I go, for example, to our disabilities office or a counseling services office, I'm not going to be judged. But if I go to my advisor, I run the risk of 50-50. They may be judging me, they may not. What if they don't understand? What if they just assume? Or what if they give me like the wrong advice because they don't know what I'm talking about?
Right.
So it's also in my side of the job is also knowing resources, not only here in TAMIU, but also out in the community that could potentially help them if I see they're in need of it.
Okay. Are there any success stories that jump into your mind in terms of students that you've been able to be most helpful to, or that you really admire the way that they worked through adversity?
Yes. So I had a particular student who I helped come into the College of Ed. She was very concerned because she didn't know she was going to be able to get accepted because at first she didn't have the GPA. So we talked about basically the fastest way to get into College of Ed, retake courses. But with her, it was a little concerning just because she wasn't willing to go back to her previous institution to retake courses.
Okay.
At the time, I didn't know why. It was my first initial meeting with her. After I got to know her a little bit better, she did disclose that the reason, or part of the reason why she didn't want to go back was because all those courses that she needed to retake were actually in person. And she has a fear of public speaking. So she doesn't like to be around large crowds, stuff like that. So when we talked about it, I did let her know. I was like, well, you're choosing to become a teacher. You are aware that you're going to have to be speaking to a lot of people, not just children, parents, administrators, staff, other coworkers and stuff like that, but just in general in everyday situations.
Sure.
So she was also disclosed to me that she had some mental health issues and that she might need more assistance in class than the average student. She wasn't sure if she would be able to get that. So I said, yes, that's not a problem. Let's refer you to our disabilities office. They'll do an assessment, and depending on your qualifications, they may be able to modify or give you exemptions, stuff like that. And that information will be disclosed to your professors. Nobody else, that's only people that need to know will know about it, basically. So at first she was a little eerie. She didn't want to go. But finally, after much speaking and basically convincing, she did go. She got assessed. That information was provided to her professors. And she was able to go back to her previous institution to retake courses, but she found them online.
Oh.
At the same time that she was enrolling here. So she paid out of pocket for those courses. It wasn't that many, so she was able to do that.
Yeah.
That really helped her in getting her GPA up. So she was able to get accepted. She came in. We were doing classes. She was still a little eerie about public speaking. So she did let her professors know that she did have that fear. At the same time, I was also working with her, basically in communication with her multiple times throughout the semester just to make sure how she was feeling, making sure that it wouldn't get too overwhelming for her potentially. Professors were really nice and they were able to adapt to her needs. They allowed her to do much of her assignments online through our app, through our Blackboard.
Yeah.
And then only when we had actual like midterms, finals, like big exams, she needed to come in person.
Okay.
So she was able to do that. And so far she's been pretty good.
That's great. And she's still in the program, you said?
Yeah, she's still in the program currently.
Okay. And any success stories for people who are finishing or recent graduates?
Yes. So there's another student that I helped. I also helped her come into the program.
Yeah.
With her, it was a little bit more tricky because she was a working parent. So with her work schedule, or at least she thought, wouldn't allow her to accommodate certain classes throughout the day because she needed to work. And she was like, I got bills to pay. I got mouths to feed. How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
Understandable. We know that the average student nowadays is not just a student. They're juggling multiple hats at this point.
Yeah.
So it's a struggle for a lot of our students. So with her in particular, we were able to accommodate as much as we could until it got to certain classes where she has to do observation hours at our local schools. Schools are during the day.
Right.
Same time she's working.
Yes.
So basically, I had to have a conversation with her, and it was a tough conversation where I had to literally tell her, like, hey, you need to choose either work or finish a program, come into our classes, do those observation hours, because if not, you're never going to graduate.
Right.
You need to do them. Like, it's no excuse. Like, you cannot substitute them. You need to do it. So finally, she was like, okay, I'm going to talk to my work.
Okay.
They were very accommodating as far as being able to give her that time throughout the week to be able to do those hours. She did. Then from there, we started talking about, okay, that's not your only obstacle. Your next obstacle is certification exams. We need to prepare you for certification exams. I know you've been studying, and that's great, but now you need to step up to the plate and actually take the exam.
Right.
See how you do.
Okay.
She did. She surprised herself. She passed them all one and done.
Okay.
So she was really, really surprised. She started crying when she called me over the phone to let me know.
That's great.
So she was
it's tugging at my heartstrings here.
She was very excited. And she's finally graduating this year.
Wonderful, wonderful. What I'm hearing from you and from others that we've been speaking with is that whatever the obstacle is, it sounds like there is a tremendous and flexible support structure to help prospective students and current students overcome obstacles,
Yes.
exactly as you said. If you could give a prospective student or a current student one piece of advice, what would it be?
To follow your heart.
Anything else you'd like to share with our viewers?
No, that about wraps it up.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you, Arcelia. We really appreciate the time and the insights.
Yes, thank you.
On behalf of Texas A&M International University, the College of Education and Podcast Architects, I'm Ben Wiggins. We will catch you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome from Texas A&M International University, and on behalf of the College of Education and Podcast Architects, I'm Ben Wiggins, and I'm here with Anais and Sergio Barrera. Thank you for joining us. Anais, you're one of our guests of honor today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a recent graduate from the Master's Program of School and Counseling, and I'm also a teacher. And I'm currently 8 months pregnant also.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit of your origin story, your superhero origin story, if you would.
So I'm not originally from Laredo. I'm actually from Roma.
Okay.
So I came over here for my bachelor's degree. Mm-hmm. I had a full ride, so that's why I decided to come to TAMIU and spent the first 4 years out, 18 to 21 here in Laredo by myself, no family or anything.
Yeah.
And then I decided to get a master's in deaf education right afterwards from San Antonio, and found myself meeting the love of my life next to me.
Congrats to you both.
Thank you.
Decided to make Laredo my permanent home, and I've been a teacher for 9 years.
Yeah.
And then I decided, you know what, I want to do school counseling, and here I am.
So what you needed was a slightly busier life than the one you already
Oh
had.
yes, of course. Why wouldn't I?
With all of your free time, you decided to go and do your graduate program. What has that journey been like? Taking on even more responsibility than you already had.
It's been a roller coaster at times, but I'm really grateful for the program. I've loved every single step of it, and coming just from my professors, from the group of friends I've been able to make, it's truly been amazing. I've loved every single step of the way.
Sergio, what's the moment where you've been proudest of your lovely wife?
Honestly, all the time. I mean, she's been going through so much, obviously with the pregnancy, with work, and with added responsibilities of the program itself. So honestly, every single day that she wakes up and goes to work and does everything she does makes me extremely proud.
Anais, what services from the administration, the faculty, the staff have been most helpful for you? What are some of the moments where you feel like the system around you has been particularly helpful?
Definitely the professors, and just always making sure that we, the graduate students, are able to get what we need to get done. And also, they're so empathetic, though, to the fact that most of us, if not all of us, are working full time. Most of us are in education, so they're very aware of that. And just the mentorship that they gave us throughout the program, it was amazing. It truly was.
Was there a particular story that jumped out to you, a particular moment where that kind of tugged on your heartstrings or made you say, I know I chose the right place to be?
Definitely during my first practicum with Dr. Sampson. He's our head advisor for the program.
Yes.
And when it was a very small group during practicum, it was like 5 of us, all girls, all women. So, and then just him as the only male. When he asked me, he's like, hey, like, how are you doing? How's everything been during practicum? And I said, well, it's been a little tough. And he's like, it's going to be tough, but you're going to get through it. You will, because counselors are helpers at heart. And then that's when I was like, oh my gosh, I chose the exact program at the right time, at the right place. And then I announced my pregnancy. So he was even more excited over that. He's like, wait, you're what? What? He's like, oh my goodness. And you're doing this? I'm like, yep, and I'm doing this. I'm going to keep going.
How did TAMIU make you feel like you were part of a community?
So our program is asynchronous, kind of synchronous, but it's all online. So at the beginning, you don't feel so much that you're part of a community. But once you get into the program, the friendships that you make, I don't know how to, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. I'm very blessed. Very blessed to have made the friends that I've made, especially during group practicum, because you're literally doing group counseling with your group. And that was very interesting because we all have different perspectives. We all come from different backgrounds, different cultures. So and we're going through different phases in our lives. So that's what brought us together, though, being able to hear each other out.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's when I felt I was like, this is what I want to be part of.
Sergio, how have you seen Anais grow during her time here at TAMIU?
I don't know. She's just gained so much knowledge out of everything. Of course, with the pregnancy, like with her, like other like peers in this program, and just everything that has kind of like put her through, I guess. So like she's just grown so much in like that. I don't want to say short span of time because I'm sure for sure it's been a good amount of time, but honestly, like her like time management has been like greatly increasing, and her as a teacher, I mean, like she's got that down. Like I can tell you that. But honestly, like just a lot of her like little skills that I don't think she herself knows she has. Like I'm impressed with like everything that she's like recently learned.
How does TAMIU support wellness and self-care throughout a very busy program that's, frequently tied into an already busy life?
Well, we always get those emails through that there's different services that are available. And actually, when I was a bachelor's, I utilized the counseling services a lot. And during the graduate program, I did as well, because there were times where it does get overwhelming. When I first found out I was pregnant, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. There was a lot of hormones going on. That's why. So there was that little seed of doubt, but I was able to talk to somebody from the counseling service, and they're awesome because they'll do it over the phone. You don't have to come in. And since I was doing everything online, they were very supportive that, it's going to be okay. And not only that, I got to talk to my professors. Dr. Sampson and Dr. Cano Sampson made themselves available 24/7. Didn't matter the time, didn't matter the day. If you had something going on, they were there to support you.
Sergio, what words of encouragement do you have for others who might be considering a path similar to the one that you and Anais have walked?
Honestly, just be persistent. Do not give up. Everyone has stuff going on in their lives, and just, think of what is awaiting for you at the end of the journey. And I can tell you from experience, like, it is not easy, of course, trying to help her out, trying to help her manage her life and everything that's going on. But hey, at the end of the day, it's all going to make sense.
And finally, Anais, any advice that you would give to a prospective student or even a current student at TAMIU?
Keep pushing on. Échale ganas. That's something that is really instilled in me. Education is something no one can ever take away from you. And I learned that from my parents, because both are educators. So keep going, even if you get a few bumps, because that's life. Life will happen. But keep going. You gotta keep going. You gotta keep striving. And it's like my husband said, it's worth it at the end. It really is.
Wonderful. Thank you both for coming on to share your story. We really appreciate your time and being here on this day of celebration.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you so much.
On behalf of Texas A&M International University, the College of Education, and Podcast Architects, I'm Ben Wiggins, and we're saying thank you to the Barrera family, the growing Barrera family, and thank you as well for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one. Welcome from Texas A&M International University, and on behalf of the College of Education and Podcast Architects, I'm Ben Wiggins, and I'm joined by Virginia Lopez. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
It is our pleasure. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Virginia Lopez. I am an academic success coach at Texas A&M International University.
Mm-hmm.
I've been at TAMIU for a little over 4 years, but with this department, College of Education, as an advisor 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a graduate advisor, so I assist graduate students in all programs that we have, whether there be master degrees or a certification degrees. And we go ahead and what I actually do is help students explain if they have any questions regarding programs.
Mm-hmm.
I explain each one of them. If they already have one in mind, then I go ahead and give them their degree plan. I explain to which degree plan paths they have as options.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go ahead and register the students. If they have any questions, like, who can I contact about career advising, I direct them to that. So I'm a navigator. If they want financial assistance, I direct them there. I can also assist students with dropping as well if they something happened in their lives. We go ahead and work through them through accommodating and seek out their degree, when their degree completion would be. Also provide them that information, and any other general inquiries, I go ahead and assist them with that as well.
Well, so you already answered the question of what is an academic success coach.
Yes.
What would you say is the most common question that you get?
The common questions would be, first off, what is an expedited degree plan? What is a standard degree plan? What are the differences? I want to graduate in a year, so what is my best path? So I told them, well, that would be the expedited degree plan. The expedited gives them to 1 year of completion, while a standard degree plan gives them approximately 2 years to complete those programs. So that's the very first main question that I have right off the bat. Second question, which is mostly asked, might be, what degrees can I have with this program? Or if I want to be certified, what are your certification programs? So I do provide them that list because we do offer certification, but not for all the programs. So that's very important to note. The other question that I have frequently asked is questions about their books. And TAMIU has a program called Books Included.
Okay.
You automatically are enrolled in that program. What that is that our institution, Texas A&M International University, they give you the books. Yes, once you register for the classes, you already have the books on hand. There is a fee for it, but if you want to get the books on your own, maybe save a little bit of money, then you will have to opt out before the deadline. If not, you are going to get charged those fees.
What are the success stories that you're most proud of?
I do have one in particular that, I almost think about it almost every day, just because it is a soft story that kind of touched me, because I've been working with this particular student since they even first began and applied for the program.
Mm-hmm.
She came in person as a walk-in and was very interested in one of our programs to be certified as a principal. And so I provided the information, and then they went on for their first semester, second semester, everything went well. Perfect student, A student.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got a call one of these days, and she informed me that their spouse passed away. And so that touched me, because, I've worked with this particular student since the beginning. And she's very friendly. She's very nice, kind of that personality that makes you want to be a better person. And so that was unfortunate loss that, that they had to go through. They went through hardships. And so, I heard them. And this conversation was through the phone. I explained if there's anything that they needed. We do offer counseling for students. So we offer them that service. And then I asked them, what would you like to do? Would you like to take a pause in your studies, or would you like to continue and proceed with your program and complete your program on time? They thought about it, and they ultimately decided to stay in the program and complete it. You could still sense that sense of sadness in their tone of voice, but still that cheerful, great personality that I always saw in the beginning in our first conversation. And our first conversation was in person. And, that same persona that she had was still there, but just with a slightly tone of sadness. But yes, that was one of my success stories, because even though this extremely hardship that she has gone through, is still going through it, she still persevered and decided to stay on the program and complete it.
If you had to give one piece of advice to a prospective student or to a current student, something that might surprise them a little in terms of, I never would have thought about it that way, what would that be?
My sole advice is, do what your heart is meant for you to be. Look solely inside yourselves and do what is best for you. I typically don't like to, sell something just because we want an extra person in our programs. I want them to fully be enjoying the process. And this is what they were said to be in this past. So just, really think about what they would like to do for their future career path, and then stay with the goals. Speak with your advisor. Every season registration, whereas academic advisors, we're here all throughout your completion of the program from beginning to end, and they can communicate with us every day if they need to. We're always here to help. We have 3 forms of communication: phone, email, or by appointment. And so if you don't live in Laredo, Texas, then feel free to make your appointment through the phone or virtually. We also have virtual appointments. But that's what, my best advice is, just to, be true to yourselves and do what is best for you.
Okay. Virginia, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time and sharing your insights.
Of course, happy to be here. Thank you.
On behalf of Podcast Architects, Texas A&M International University, and the College of Education, I'm Ben Wiggins. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one. Produced by Podcast Architects.